The topic we are going to discuss in this lecture is about methods. We remember from the previous lecture that the classes are like a blueprint for an object, and these classes can have data associated with the classes themselves, as well as actions. The actions are performed using the concept of methods, which are the equivalent of functions in other programming languages. Functions are modules of code that usually take some data in, process the data, and return a result. In Java, those functions are called methods. Let's see how we can define an action for our Java program. I will demonstrate a simple method, and in later lectures we are going to see more complicated ones in action, for example methods that accept data as parameters. Void show info, and we open some curly brackets. Let's analyze this method a bit. This is what is called the signature of the method. We can see the first keyword here, which is void. Void means that the method does not return any object. If our method would have returned a string, then the word string would have been placed instead of the word void. Then we have the name of the method. Use a meaningful name so that anyone with access to your code can understand what the method is doing. Then we have a set of parentheses, which highlights the fact that this is a method. Within the parentheses, usually we specify the data that we take in to process it inside the method. However, for simplicity reasons, we will keep it empty. Then the body of the method, meaning the place where the actual code for this method will reside. The body of the method is marked with a set of curly brackets. So to recap, a method can be defined as the following: the return object plus the name of the method plus parentheses and an optional parameter to the method and the body of the method. Let's add an action inside the method, something like system.out.println, and here we need to print the information we have about our computer object. I'm going to say the computer has this amount of RAM and has the following processor. We can add the other data as well. However, I don't want to make this video too long, so we are going to keep only these two pieces of data. So whenever we call this method, this information will be printed out in the console. This is a complete example of a function. Let's twist the things a bit. Let's say that instead of outputting everything in the console, we will return a string that we defined in the previous function. You can pause the video and think about the solution on your own. First, to solve this, let's copy the exact method here below. Notice that the IDE complains that the method is defined twice. You cannot have duplicate methods in Java, so to solve this we need to change it to match our needs. We said that we want to return a string. In the initial method we are not returning anything, since we used void. So the first thing to change is the return type, from void to string. Now the IDE is complaining that this method does not return a string, which is correct since we output everything in the console. To fix this, we need to delete our system.out statement and use the keyword return without parentheses. We also need to change the name of the method from showInfo to showSpecs. And that's it. We have defined a method that returns something. Now let's see those methods in action. We are going to the app class, and inside our main method, we will call each of the two defined functions. We will call computer1.showInfo, and now let's run it. And as you can see, the action has been executed and the relevant string has been outputted in the console. Let's see the second function. So computer1.showSpecs. Running it will not display anything since we are not doing any system.out.println statement. So in order to capture the return value, we need to define a string that is equal to what this function is returning to us. To test this, let's use the string inside a system.out.println statement. Running it shows that the string is outputted correctly. That's about it. Join me in the next lecture where we are going to discuss about method parameters.